Everyone, I'm Divya Bharati, daughter of Shanmugavelu with my matrix number E201910235332. Okay, me and my group members going to talk about wastewater treatment. Okay, so my part is to give a small introduction regarding the topic. So let's proceed to the topic. Okay, so what is wastewater treatment? Wastewater treatment usually referred to sewage treatment or domestic wastewater treatment. It is a process of removing contaminants from wastewater, both runoff and domestic. So there are three goals for this wastewater treatment. There are three main reasons for us to treating the water or treating the wastewater. It is to produce waste stream, to produce solid waste which is called as sludge, or to discharge or reuse them back into environment. Okay, of course you guys will be thinking, where does the wastewater come from? The wastewater comes from residences, which is from kitchen or bathroom, from commercial institution or from industrial institution, which is usually requires specialized treatment processes. There are three stages for this process, which is primary, secondary, tertiary. In primary stage of the water treatment, the solids are separated. Then it is dissolved. The dissolved biological matter is converted into a solid mass by using waterborne bacteria in the secondary stage of water treatment. 95% of the suspended molecules should be removed in this stage of water treatment. At the last stage, which is tertiary stage, the biological solids are neutralized, then disposed, and treated water may be disinfected chemically or physically. This stage is the most important stage of treating of wastewater because the disinfection stages is going to be the important one to neutralize the biological solids. There are few types of treatment, which is mechanical treatment, biological treatment, and chemical treatment. So guys, after this my group members will be discussing on the effects of the water treatment, which is regarding economy, ethics, and social. Thank you.
Water waste treatment impact on social. The development of human society is heavily dependent on the availability of water of suitable quality in adequate quantities. However, the demand for water is ever increasing due to population growth, technology advancement, industrial expansion, pollution, and urbanization, which put great stress on the natural water cycle. These demands were met by constructing ever large dams, which in turn affect both water quality and quantity. Moreover, the available freshwater supplies are not evenly distributed, and there is a growing competition for water from different sectors, including industry, agriculture, power generation, domestic use, and etc. As a result, world, 1/3 of the world's population is currently experiencing water scarcity. With increasing urbanization and changing lifestyle, increasing amount of wastewater is being generated, and where these are not sufficiently treated, freshwater bodies are continuously threatened. Achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 6, which target improved wastewater management, thus puts immense economic pressure, especially on poor countries. Inadequate infrastructure and sustainable management system for the increasing volume of produced wastewater are at the heart of wastewater crisis in developing countries. As a result, inadequate infrastructure of wastewater treatment in most of the big cities where half of the world's population lives, the majority of wastewater are discharged into the environment without any form of treatment, harming both the ecosystem and human. Depending on the treatment of lack of it, as well as the degree of dilution, wastewater can be rich in resources such as nutrients, inorganic and organic compounds, as well as energy, making it worthwhile for recovery and reuse. On the other hand, it can also be rich in chemical and microbial contaminants, and the improper use of untreated wastewater can have adverse effect on both human health and environment. When wastewater is treated using advanced technology and health risks are carefully addressed and controlled, irrespective of all science evidence, social perceptions remains the drivers of the success or failure of wastewater reuse schemes. Depending on public perceptions, impressions and attitudes, the development of wastewater scheme can be supported or constrained. Negative public perception can prevent well-planned projects from moving forward. On the other hand, positive public perception, which leads to greater acceptance, is the key element for success implementation of wastewater recycling. Experience shows that the local communities have rejected a number of wastewater recycle projects by the government and water boards around the world as a result of inadequate community consultation, which lead to negative public perception. Ex- sorry, experience show that the local communities have rejected a number of wastewater recycling projects by the government and water boards around the world as a result of inadequate community consultation, which led to negative public perception. Therefore, with the increasing pressure on water resources, wastewater recycling and reuse have rapidly become an imperative for integrated water management strategies. However, along with the technology advancement in wastewater treatment, societal factors such as public perception, public acceptance, and the dimension of gender have great implications on the success of wastewater reuse. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Hafiz Izzuddin Biramli. Now, I want to present the impacts of wastewater treatment to economy. Market size and forecast. Geographically, Asia Pacific accounted for more than 40% of the market share in overall water and wastewater treatment market in 2017, owing to growing population and rising disposable incomes in combined with increased water contamination issues that are leading to ecological degradation in the region. The increase in pollution in India, China and Japan, with reducing rate of pure water, is anticipated to improve the demand for water treatment plants in these countries. According to a recent study conducted by Research Nester, the global market for water and wastewater treatment is expected to grow at a significant compound annual growth rate during the forecast period 2018 until 2027. The global demand for clean water for drinking and wastewater treatment in commercial and industrial application is anticipated to generate substantial market valuation of around USD 704 billion in terms of revenue by the end of 2027. Important impacts. First, improve water supply, sanitation and water resources management boost countries' economic growth while contributes greatly to poverty eradication. Second, the economic benefits of improved water supply and, in particular, sanitation far outweigh the investment costs. Surprisingly, good news for northern and southern decision makers who often view investments as mere cost. Third, national economies are more resilient to rainfall variability, and economic growth is boosted when water storage is improved. Fourth, improved water resources management, water supply and sanitation contribute significantly to increased production and productivity within economic sectors. Just that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Husnul Hakim bin Muhammad Haris Wazila. My metric number is E20910234446. Now, I will present about the impact of wastewater treatment to ethics. First, I will explain about the water ethics. Water is important for all living beings. The right to water is a key human right for life condition of all other human rights, because without water and food, all other cannot be implemented. Based on UN Human Rights Declaration 1948, Article 25, International Pact for Economic, Social, Cultural Rights, 1996, Article 11, ECO Code Documentary number 15, 2002, Article 1, et al. Water for all is also at the core of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Goal number 6. Water ethics is a part of global ethics across cultures and religions, as water is a common need for all human beings, including plants, animals, and atmosphere. Water ethics has to be based on values such as equality of affordable to access water, freedom of access to water, responsibility in use and recycling, peace in distribution mechanisms, community in sharing limited water resources, solidarity and sustainability in long-term preservation of access to water and others. Okay, let's move on to ethical principles. Ethical principles. First, the principle of equal respect for human dignity. This principle calls for the meeting of basic needs and the promotion of human health and well-being. It incorporates the underlying notion behind the framework of universal human rights. This is a fundamental principle of public health ethics. When construed in relational terms, the concept of human dignity is not at odds with respect for other creatures and for nature, and thus is fundamental to environmental ethics as well. Second, the principle of equity and proportionality. Meeting the needs and promoting the health of all persons is important, but equity and proportionate response are required in the face of limited resources to give priority to the least well-off, those most immediately at risk, and those who are made vulnerable by past discrimination, exclusion, and powerlessness. Third, the principle of solidarity. Respect and equity should be pursued with a recognition of the limits of each individual's ability to determine the conditions of their own life and of our mutual independency and reliance on outside support, care, and assistance. Fourth, the principle of common good. This principle calls for the recognition of situations in which the pursuit of rational self-interest by each individual leads to outcomes that are irrational and harmful to the interests of all individuals involved. The human interests served by water and the biodiversity water makes possible are often not well served by behavioral strategies of individual interest maximization, such as those fostered by libertarian property rights. And lastly, the principle of inclusive and deliberative participation. Just as the principle of right relationship and responsible stewardship addresses a substantive ethical standard for the content of public health and water management policies, so the principle of participation addresses the values inherent in the process of policy making and decision making. Often, the mechanism and institutions of democratic governance are selective and rely on bargaining and interest maximization strategies by powerful, well-organized and well-represented groups. This type of governance and decision making may not be well suited to the protection, conservation and equitable distribution of common goods. More adequate governance mechanism from an ethical point of view involve a deliberative and participatory process marked by transparency, universal access to information, inclusiveness, and individual and community empowerment, so that all may take advantage of the open information and participatory opportunities. Okay, so the conclusion is wastewater treatment is very important in our daily life nowadays. However, wastewater treatment must follow all the principles of water ethics to maintain the rights and lives of all human beings. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.